The Pastor in the Pit. A short story by Dan McDowell. Eric Rallow leaned into the ground, pressing his ear nearly to the dirt with a small technical instrument in hand, amplifying the sound.
You can hear them,
He said, looking over at his wife, Debbie.
Some of them scream, some of them sing.
Debbie shook her head.
And how do you know that?
Dead languages.
And you're some kind of expert in that?
She asked, looking across the cemetery at various dated and crumbling headstones.
Absolutely.
Dead languages? That's like ancient languages no longer in use, Eric. Not anything intelligible now.
But let me ask you, don't screaming and singing transcend all of that? You don't have to understand it to hear the essence of it.
Debbie nodded as she leaned up against a headstone that collapsed.
Oh, Lord.
She said,
Yeah, you better call out to him, 'cause these ones I hear screaming are scaring the hell out of me.
I hope so.
she said, standing up tall. As they walked out of the cemetery, she took him by the hand.
I admire your passion, Eric. I just don't understand what good this is going to do for anyone. You can hear the dead suffering or celebrating. What's that prove? Heaven and hell?
Isn't that enough?
He asked as they climbed into the car and went across town.
I just feel like it's not something we should be doing. What qualifies us?
What qualifies anyone? A piquing curiosity.
He said as they made their way toward the state recreational area.
Where are we going?
I want to go out to Widow's Cave. I'm wondering if we get far enough in there. I can set my recorder to amplify. Maybe we can capture more of the sounds.
I don't want to do that.
She said.
And I don't really want you doing that either.
I understand,
He said,
but we have to. There's too much to be gained. Maybe we could get some linguistic experts to analyze this, to get us some real traction. This could be really helpful.
She sighed as they pulled into the gate of the park, and Eric paid the entry fees.
You're a pastor, Eric. If something happened to you, thousands would be devastated.
But if I could prove the existence of life after death, maybe that would point more people to God. Scare them away from the evil. A life of suffering isn't exactly something most are looking forward to.
She shook her head.
You're just fixated. You're going to do it whether I let you or not. I wish you would have consulted with some of the other guys at the church. You shouldn't be exploring this alone.
He nodded as they parked.
All right, I'll get in there. Take a little while. Try to get some recordings and see if I can pick up any of these hypersensitive frequencies. Then maybe we can actually quantify my findings.
Just remember who you're working for.
She said, patting him on the shoulder.
Always.
He said. Eric climbed up the hillside until he found his way into the cave and began to wander down into it further and further. Visibility quickly shifted to pure darkness, just a few squeaks of bats and birds, and then even that had subsided as he descended further into the earth, several hundred feet. He had a flashlight and his phone, plus the equipment in hand to amplify the sound. Once he found a comfortable spot near the bottom of the cave, there was a deeper hole that went down further and further. He shined his light down and couldn't see the bottom. He dropped a rock and didn't ever hear it land.
This'll work.
He whispered to himself. He sat still for a bit and prayed.
God, may this be for the good of all mankind.
He angled the sound amplifying tool into the pit and listened. As the sounds of the earth began to emerge, he felt an uneasy feeling, a sort of panic filling up within. The screams grew louder and louder as his eyes acclimated to total darkness. The fires of hell began to shine from the pit.
Dear God, have mercy. Lord, heal this land and its people, so we may not perish here.
And the screams grew harsher and louder. As Eric captured all on his phone in awe and wonder, he looked upwards, wondering if the very portal to hell beneath would also show a pathway to heaven above. Then he heard a voice from the shadows.
It's not that simple, Eric. The mysteries are meant to be mysteries, and you know I can't allow this.
But why?
He asked, respectful but curious.
The message of the gospel is clear, and it's enough. Proving other realms, that's what the pagans do. And you're about 6 inches away from being a pagan.
As Eric felt his heart beginning to race, He continued to dialogue.
But Lord, it could help so many. Why wouldn't you allow it?
Because it puts the spotlight on you, Eric. And a true child of me doesn't need to be fulfilled by fame or discovery. Eric, I can make your heart stop, slow it down, make you lose your balance and plummet to death, or cause your phone recordings to completely erase or become damaged. But ultimately, I'm not going to intervene. I've said enough. And the rest is up to you, my son. Be wise.
Eric, forever a student and forever surrendered to the gospel ministry, picked up his phone and prepared to throw it into the pit, forever leaving it behind. And then, the voice of another arrived.
Think of what you could do. What we could do. How you could amplify the truth. There's so much here.
Eric, struggling to process, sat back down as another figure lit the complete darkness of the space.
I can show you many things, but there's a cost,
He said.
And what's that?
Total surrender.
Realizing the gravity of the statement, Eric studied the figure. He was handsome and worldly, clearly one of success and much wealth. He was charming and approachable, an individual of power and influence.
Eric, you know what it's going to take. You take the footage to the professors, even at the seminary, and they'll spread news of your findings. That the afterlife is reachable, that there's a purpose, that there's voices to hear, languages to decode, that the dead need to be heard again. They can be heard.
Processing all that he'd learned in seminary, every meeting, every sermon, every scripture, Eric knew who he spoke to. And the charm was powerful. He didn't feel hated or despised or mocked. He felt welcomed. And this terrified him. He was on the threshold of everything, the meaning of life and what's beyond it. And yet, he knew what he had to do, the proper ending. He knew he couldn't be controlled, only influenced. And that was where it was left in his hands.
I've got to get back out there.
He said, looking at the breathtaking figure once more.
There's more work to be done.
I'll see you soon.
The figure said, smiling as he vanished into the pit. Eric made his way out of the cave rather effortlessly, but his emotions were worn incredibly thin. He couldn't think of any material way to describe his experience with Debbie, and he also felt conflicted on if he ever should. As the sun shined down upon him, he smiled.
Thank you.
He said, looking up the heavens. As he climbed in the car and greeted Debbie, she waited for him to speak.
I got what I needed.
He said,
Some languages are meant to be dead.
and they drove away.
O Lord, you have examined my heart and know everything about me. You know when I sit down or stand up. You know my thoughts even when I'm far away. You see me when I travel and when I rest at home. You know everything I do. You know what I'm going to say even before I say it, Lord. You go before me and follow me. You place your hand of blessing on my head. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too great for me to understand. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Point out anything in me that offends you and lead me along the path of everlasting life. Psalm 139.